Thanks for tuning in to Shawnee Union. And I started to work on the Polaroid project I talked about earlier. And it's one of the coolest projects I've ever worked on. It's pretty fun to work on, but it's really hair-raising and takes a lot of trial and error. This project, for those of you who didn't see the first video, are about adapting a Polaroid microscope camera like this into making it into a pinhole camera. I made the pinhole by using a 3-inch metal washer I found at a local hardware store. I then drilled some holes and mounted it. One tip though is to use a punch to set up your holes. I did it the first time and you can see the actual holes I ended up with. My first attempt, I used copper as my material and put a pin all the way through like this. I calculated my f-stop online after taking measurements of the distance from the lens to the film and then the size of the hole. I found out that the hole was a little bit large though, and I could tell in my prints because the images were pretty soft. I looked online and did some further research and found out people were using aluminum from soda cans and barely piercing the metal to get a smaller hole. Once I did this, I started to get better results. In the end, I ended up using this method to shoot. I would calculate my exposure on my iPhone, and then I would take a picture of my surroundings. I would then put this picture into my EXIF wizard and get an EV rating. And then using that EV rating, I will insert it into my exposure app, and then I would know how much time I needed to spend on a shot. I would then start the timer that I would leave on the ground, and I would place my finger over the hole and then open the dark slide and then wait for the exposure time to take its course. And then when the exposure was finished, I would replace my finger over the hole, insert the dark slide, and expose the film. It's pretty freaking complicated. This took at least 2 rolls to figure out and $20. But here's one example of how I took a shot that took $5 to take. I took my exposure normally the first couple times and realized that I was way overexposed. And then I looked close at the camera and found out that there was a light leak. So I fixed the light leak. And then after that, I was still getting underexposed photos, and I wasn't sure what was going on. So I took another exposure reading that gave me a much lower EV rating. Now that all that was figured out, I set up my shot. I took a 2-minute exposure and got something pretty close. And I was going to get that shot because of how much money I already spent into it, $3 or $4. So thank God I got it. This whole process has taught me to be patient and to reduce your variables. I could have gotten upset and given up, but I just kept on changing a small thing each time to get closer to what I wanted. It's actually a pretty good model for life too. So in the end, I got some pretty cool shots, and I learned a lot about pinhole photography, which is really difficult and not that easy. And I think it's a pretty fun project, and I expect to do more with it in the future. I'm probably going to change it out so I can use different lenses and different things like that, but a pretty cool place to start with pinhole photography. And then the $10 for a roll of film is actually pretty cheap when you think about it. So when I develop a normal roll of film, it costs about $20 and $10 with instant results. I thought was pretty fun. So I'm pretty glad about how that project ended up, and it was pretty cool just to test to see if it could happen. So if you guys enjoyed that video, remember to like it and to remember to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys later. Thank you. Bye.